And let's continue now with the special order. Let's do the one quick check to see if you get it or not. So Norton Optical, this company, originally sells these lenses for $50. The variable production cost is $10. Fixed production cost $18. And the variable selling cost is $1. Now there's a customer who's coming and requesting special order of 10,000 units of these lenses. And they want to have a customer logo printed on the lenses. This is a special order that will not involve any selling cost. So the selling cost of $1 is not going to be involved anymore. But Norton Optical would have to purchase the imprinting machine for $50,000. So let's see, out of those costs that we have here, which are relevant, which are not. Variable production cost obviously is relevant, $10. Fixed production cost, well, that's for fixed cost. So regardless if we do it or not, that cost always stays. So that's irrelevant. And the variable selling cost of $1, since we're doing the special order and clearly says that this special cost will not be involved, so that $1 can be avoided. So far, the relevant cost is only $10. What else is relevant? Relevant is that we have to purchase this machine for $50,000. That's the cost of the machine. So let's see how much is per unit. With a $50,000 machine, we can produce 10,000 units. So that's pretty much $5 per unit. So what will be our cost? Actual cost will be the variable cost, $10 plus the $5 per unit on the machine. And that's all. Now, what will be the rock bottom minimum price below which this company should not go on these negotiations? In other words, below what price the Norton Optical actually will be losing money on the sale. Remember, there's an ample idle capacity, so we have the idle capacity. We don't have to stop our normal sales. And imprinting machine has no further use in this order. So since we saw that the variable costs are important, and the $50,000 on the 10,000 units give a $5, so our rock bottom price will be $15. How are we going to go? Variable cost per unit is $100 or $10. Additional fixed cost $50,000 or $5 per unit. That's going to give you $15 per unit, 10,000 units. The relevant cost is going to be $50,000. Now, next decision is the joint cost. Now, in some industries, a number of end products are produced from the single raw material. It means that two or more products produced from the common input are called joint products. For example, I'm producing milk. That's my normal routine, producing milk. But at some point I decide, okay, milk is boring, so let's produce more products from the milk. Let's go with the yogurt or cream and half and half. So now I have 3 products. Since those 3 common products comes from the same single raw material, those will be called joint products. Now the point in the manufacturing process where each product can be recognized as a separate product, it's called split of point. So what that means, we're having milk. At some point we decide, that's it, milk is boring. Let's go now with the yogurt, cream, and half and half. At this point, when we decide to make yogurt, cream, and half and half, that will be our split of point. Again, we're producing probably one product, and at the split-off point, we decide, okay, now let's go with the oil, gasoline, and chemicals. At the point when we decide to split this product into 3 different products, it's called the split-off point. Now, at this point, what's happened? On the oil, in order to convert the oil, we have to do some separate processing and then do the final step. On the gasoline, we can sell it the way it is. On the chemicals, we still have to do some processing, and then we do the final step. What's the general principle here? Joint costs are often allocated to the end of the product on the basis of the relative sales value of each product or on some other basis. Although allocation is needed to some purposes, such as the balance sheet or inventory valuation, allocation of this kind is very dangerous for decision making. So what's the rule? The rule is joint costs are irrelevant in decision regarding what to do with the product from the split point forward. Now, it always will be profitable to continue processing a joint product after the spin-off point, as long as the incremental revenue or the revenue that you're getting over the normal is more than the cost after the split-off point. So, for example, I'm selling the milk for $4. If I convert it to yogurt, I can I can sell it for $6. So now I have $4 as it is, $6 if I convert it for the yogurt. What's my incremental revenue in this case? Obviously, 6 minus 4, it's $2. $2 is my incremental revenue. So now, as long as the cost of converting milk to yogurt is below $2, I'm okay. I can go with the yogurt. But if my cost to convert milk to yogurt become more than $2, let's say I can sell it as a milk for $4, but I can sell it for yogurt for $6. But in order to convert it to yogurt, I have to spend $3. So selling 6 minus 3, basically my additional is $3. Well, I'm selling it at this point at $4. Why do I have to go with yogurt? I don't have to. I better sell it as a milk and make more money. If I go with the yogurt, I'm going to lose $1 where I'm currently at. So that's how you're making the decision. So let's see example here. This company cut logs from which unfinished lumber and sawdust are immediate joint products. Again, the split-off point is when we can separate the lumber and the sawdust. Unfinished lumber is sold as it is, or can be processed further into the finished lumber. Sawdust can also be sold as it is to gathering wholesale or to process further into pressed logs. So we have those two, unfinished lumber and sawdust. We can process further into the finished lumber or process further into pressed logs. So let's see the information. Lumber. At the split-off point, once we separated two products, we can sell it for $140. If we process further, we can sell it for $270. So we can sell it for $130 more. Allocated job product cost is 176, which we said that's irrelevant. However, the cost to process further, so the cost to converting from 140 to 270 is $50. So I'm generating $130 positive increase in the sale value, but I have to spend $50 to do that. Obviously, the cost is less than the increase. So 130 minus 50, so I'm going to generate here easily $80. On the other hand, the sawdust, I'm selling it at this point at $40. I can process it further, and I can sell it for $50. Allocated the joint product cost at 24, which is irrelevant. But the cost to process it further is $20. So I can generate $10 profit, but I have to spend $20. So should I go? Probably not. It's not relevant. So again, we're checking what's the sales value if we process further. 270, 50. Cost of the sales value of the split off, $140, $40. So incremental revenue in our case is $130 for the lumber and $10 for the sawdust. Additional cost. Cost is only to process it further. $50 for the lumber, $20 for the sawdust. So what's our actual profit or loss? On the lumber, we're making $80. On the sawdust, we're losing $10. Which one we should process? Obviously, the lumber. The next thing that it's important for decision making is how we utilizing the constraints. When we have a limited resources, and you're always going to have a limited resources in your life, to sometimes the restriction of the company ability to satisfy demand. So basically, everything is, you have to understand there's no resource in life which is unlimited. Everything has limits. So you're always going to work with constraints. The question is how you can utilize the constraints. Now the machine or the process which is limited overall input is called bottleneck. Bottleneck is, that means that's constraint, something that is very tiny and has to go to that port. Now, when the constraint exists, company should select the product mix that maximizes the total contribution margin earned, since the fixed cost usually remain unchanged. And the company should not necessarily promote those products that have the highest contribution margin, but they have to look for the product which have the highest contribution margin within the constraint. What that means, let's see the example. We have two products, product one, product two. Selling price per unit is $60 for product one, $50 for product two. Variable expenses, product one, 36, product two, 30. Contribution margin, 24 for product one, 15 for product two. Now, currently the customer wants 2,000 from product one and 2,200 from product two. Obviously, at this point, clearly, product one provides more contribution margin for us than the product two. Difference is exactly $9. $9 more. Now, that's expressed in the contribution margin ratio, 40% from the product one, 30% from product two. Clearly, again, product one is more profitable for us. But we have a processing time. So now, processing time is related to the machine that we're using to produce those products. And for product one, we need 1 minute to produce product 1. For product 2, in 1 minute, we can produce 2 products. Now the question is, what's the contribution margin per minute for those products? That will change the picture here. So the machine 1 is the constraint resource and being used at 100% capacity. There is an excess capacity in all other machines. Now the machine 1 has the capacity of 2,400 minutes per week. That's it. The question is, should this company focus effort on product 1 or product 2? Which one will be? Now, first question that we have to ask, how many minutes we need to produce the entire demand for product 1? Or let's put it this way, how many minutes we need per product? Obviously, for product 1, we need 1 minute. For product 2, we need half minute. So, how many products we can produce for 1 minute? We can produce from product 1 product, and from product 2, we can produce 2 products. Right? So again, per minute, we can produce 1 product 1 and 2 of product 2. So what's the contribution margin per minute in this case? Since we can produce for 1 minute only 1 product from product 1, contribution margin is $24. But per minute now, contribution margin on the product 2, instead of 15, goes to $30 because we can produce 2 product 2 for 1 minute. So per minute, product 2 have the highest contribution margin. And since we have a capacity of the machine, now the next question is, how many minutes we have the capacity of this machine? That the capacity is 2,400 minutes per week. The question is, how many minutes now we need to produce the entire demand for the product 1 and for product 2? For product 1, we need 2,000 minutes, but for product 2, we can produce that demand in 1,100 minutes. And since the product 2 gives us the highest contribution margin per minute, what do we have to the logical choice will be we to focus our entire production first to produce product 2, and any hours left. So if our capacity is 2,400 minutes minus 1,100 minutes, we're going to have another 1,300 minutes. Those 1,300 minutes, we can spend it on chasing the product 1. So let's see the questions. How many units of each product can be produced in 1 minute? And we have all those options. So we already said our logical choice will be B. For 1 minute, we can produce 1 unit of product 1 and 2 units of product 2. Now, in this case, what generates more profit for the company, using 1 minute of the machine A to process product 1 or using 1 minute to machine to produce product 2? Logically, it will be product 2. And product 2 for 1 minute is going to give you contribution margin of $30 because you can produce 2 products. And $50 for contribution margin per unit give you $30 compared to $24 for product 1. The calculation will be less. So product 1 unit for 1 minute or $24 per minute. For product 2, 2 products, $15, $30 per minute. So the company should focus on product 2 And once we have extra capacity, or whatever left of the capacity, then we can go to product one. That's how we're going to maximize our profit. So if there's no other consideration, the best plan will be to produce the entire demand for product two and remaining of the capacity to go to product one. Now, let's do the calculation of the capacity. Weekly demand of product two is 2,200 minutes, and we can produce, we need 0.5 minutes or half minute per product. So how many minutes we need? We need 1,100 minutes. But our machine has the capacity of 2,400 minutes. So we have the extra additional capacity, or the remaining capacity, let's say the remaining capacity after we produce product two will be 1,300 minutes. So those 1,300 minutes, we can put it entirely to product one. And how many products on product one we can produce? 1,300 minutes. So in that case, our maximum contribution margin that we can earn is $64,200, and that will be the maximum contribution margin that we can earn within the constraints that we have from the machine, which is $2,400. So let's see another question, so we can apply all these ideas. This company makes production colonial furniture from the selected hardware. They have chairs and they have tables. Selling price per chair is $80. Selling price per table is $400. Variable cost per chair is $30, so that gives a contribution margin of $50. And tables, variable cost is $200, or $200 contribution margin per table. Now the tricky part is to produce one chair, we need 2 board feet per unit, and to produce one table, we need 10 board feet. Monthly demand, currently the market demand 600 chairs and 100 tables. At this point, we can clearly say that tables generate the high contribution margin, $200 versus $50 for the chairs. However, which one is going to give us the high contribution margin for the constraint, which will be the board feet. And for one board feet, what's the contribution margin for the chairs for one board feet? Obviously, since we're generating $50 per chair, but we're using 2 board feet, that will be $25 per board feet. And for the tables, we're generating $200 per table, but we're using 10 board feet, that will be $20 per board feet. At this point, we're realizing that the chair is going to have the highest contribution margin of the constraint, assuming that the per board feet is $25 versus the table $20 per board feet. Now, the company supplier of hardwood would only be able to supply 2,000 board feet for this month. Is this going to be enough to satisfy our demand? Well, let's see. So we need, for the chairs, we need 600. We need to produce 600 chairs, but we need 2 feet, two board feet per unit. So that means we need 1,200 board feet. That's for the chairs. And for the tables, we demand is $100, 100 for tables, but $10, 10 board feet we need for one table. So that's mean another 1,000. So 1,200 plus 1,000, that's 2,200 board feet. But the supplier can provide only 2,000. So we are short 200 board feet. So do we have enough hardwood to satisfy the demand? Clearly, no. Next question. The company supplier of hardwood will only be able to supply 2,000 board feet per month. What should be our plan to maximize the profit? Obviously, as we already said, for board feet, we have to chase the product that provides the highest contribution margin for board feet. And we already established that the chairs provide the highest contribution margin for board feet. So we have to satisfy first the demand for the chairs. So we're going to produce those 600 chairs. The question is how many tables we can produce. Well, if we produce 600 chairs, we're going to use 1,200 board feet, but we have only 2,000. So how many left? 800. With 800 board feet, how many tables we can produce? Only 80 tables. So if we want to maximize the profit, we have to go with option B, to produce 600 chairs and 80 tables. So that's how it's going to be the calculation. So for the chair, again, contribution margin per unit is $50 versus $200, but contribution margin per board feet is 25 for the chairs and 20 for the tables. So that's why we have to focus on the product which will give us the high contribution margin, which is the constraint, which in this case is the board feet. So we're producing the entire demand of the chairs, 600. For that demand, we need 2 board feet per chair, so we're going to use 1,200 board feet. But we have available 2,000, which is going to give us 800 remaining. With the 800 board feet, since we're using 10 board feet for one table, we can produce maximum of 80 tables. And that's how we're going to do it. Now, as before, this supplier of hardwood only will be able to supply 2,000 board feet of this month. Now, assume that the company follows the plan we have proposed. Up to how much should be willing to pay above the usual price to obtain the more hardwood? Obviously, at this point, since we know that our cost contribution margin for board feet on the table is $20, the maximum price that we are willing to pay for the board feet will be $20. Why? Because if we pay $20, that's going to be exactly the contribution margin. So in this point, we're not losing money, we're not making money. We're on the break even. So the maximum price that we're willing to pay is $20. Let's see if that's the answer. So the $20 will be additional wood will be used to make the tables. In this, each board foot additional will allow the company to earn additional $20 of the contribution margin. And in this case, again, we are on the break even. So we're not making money, but we're not losing money. How are we going to manage the constraints? Well, that's interesting thing because for the different constraints, we have to use different techniques. And profits can be increased by effectively managing the constraints. So you as a manager, what you have to do, you have to understand what's your constraint. You have to focus your attention to those constraints and figure out how to do it. First thing what you can do is to improve the process. Second thing is add overtime or another shift. So increase the availability for that particular constraint. Hire new workers or get a new machine. Or subcontract production instead of you making it buy. Reduce the amount of defective units produced. Or add workers transfer for the other departments. Any of those techniques can work. What's going to happen with the multiple constraints? When you have a multiple constraints, then you have available linear programming. Linear programming, then you're going to punch the number and you're going to say, if you have more than one constraint, within those two constraints, which one will be the correct product mix between different products. Linear product is a very interesting thing. However, I'm not going to spend time for this. Now, That's with the regular chapter. I'm going to stop the recording right here.